Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Connecticut Department of Transportation and the towns of Westport and Fairfield, I would like to welcome you all for attending this public informational meeting for State Project number 158-219, replacement of bridge number 04972, Greens Farms Road over Sasco Brook, located in the town of Westport. My name is Preeti Bardwaj, and I am the project manager assigned to this project. We appreciate your willingness to participate in this forum virtually, and we hope that you will find this meeting both interesting and informative. I would now like to go over some of the goals and format for tonight's meeting. I will be explaining how you will be able to interact with the project team. I will explain how this project is funded in the Federal Local Bridge DMS, or Design Managed by the State program. We will then have some welcoming remarks from the towns of Westport and Fairfield. I will then be introducing the project team. That includes the department's front office leadership, the department's design team, and our consultant liaison engineer team. This will then be followed with a technical presentation of the design, which will include the condition of the existing structure, purpose and need for the project, and the recommended design solution, which has progressed to a 30% design completion. As part of the department's public outreach program, it is at this point that we are now reaching out to you, the public, while it is still early in the design process, to receive any comments or concerns or answer any questions that you may have. We will also have a representative from the department's right-of-way unit to explain the rights-of-way process. And lastly, we will have a live question and answer session. I will now explain how you will be able to interact with the project team. There are three means of how you will be able to communicate. The first is by email, and that email address is dot.flbp@ct.gov. And I will spell that out. It is dot.flbp@ct.gov. You can also phone in, and the phone number is 860-944-1111. Again, the phone number is 860-944-1111, or you can use the chat function on the MS Teams live event chat. In this format, you can ask a question by clicking on the little question mark, which shows Q&A, and this will bring up your live Q&A field. Select the Ask a Question button at the bottom right screen, and a field will pop up. And you can type your question and hit either enter with a little arrow mark to send. You can also check the box on the bottom to post your question anonymously if you prefer. There will be a slight delay, but eventually your question will appear in the featured section with all other questions that are asked tonight. The project email, phone, and chat will be screened by the project team during the Q&A session, and the questions asked by any of these methods will be posted to the MS Teams Q&A chat window. The questions will be asked out loud for the project team to answer. You can ask questions at any time during the presentation, but we will answer these questions during the live Q&A session that follows. We also have a project webpage link where the recording of tonight's entire presentation, including the Q&A session, will be stored. The web page will also contain the same information that I have previously explained on how to provide comments and ask questions. And that project web page is portal.ct.gov/DOT Westport 158-219. And I will spell that out. It is portal.ct.gov/DOT Westport 158-219. And lastly, please remember that the comment period to ask questions or provide comments will be open through December 21st, 2021. So if you think of a question after tonight's meeting or wish to expand on a question asked tonight, you will have until December 21st to do so. The MS Teams chat function is only available during tonight's live Q&A session. We would greatly appreciate it if you could fill out a brief survey the department has through SurveyMonkey. This will provide us a great feedback on how to enhance these virtual public meetings going forward. There's also a civil rights flyer available. Both the links to the survey and civil rights flyer are located on the previously mentioned project webpage. I would also like to state, as part of the Title VI Civil Rights Act, that no person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. I would now like to explain how this project is being funded. This bridge is a town-owned bridge and is being funded under the Department's Federal Local Bridge Program. Traditionally, in this program, the town selects a designer, and because federal funds are involved, the department provides administrative oversight because the department is considered to be stewards of those federal funds. The funding is traditionally 80% federal and 20% town for the design, rights-of-way, and construction phases of the project. However, this project is going to be funded under the department's DMS, or Design Managed by the State program. In this program, it will be the department who will be performing the design on behalf of the municipality, utilizing our consultant liaison engineers, who in this case are Close Jensen and Miller. Close Jensen and Miller has completed the 30% preliminary design, and it will be brought to final design completion by one of our pre-selected task-based designers. In addition, the design phase only will now be funded with 80% federal and 20% state funds. So the entire design phase is at zero cost to both the town of Westport and Fairfield. Although the preliminary design was performed by the department, it was in full partnership and coordination with both of the towns. We held several meetings with both the towns of Westport and Fairfield and diligently worked together to incorporate most of the town's comments and concerns, and now we are reaching out to you, the community, to also weigh in. The initiative behind the DMS program was to expedite design delivery for municipal projects. The DMS program uses a streamlined design approach where we are able to utilize full departmental resources and are able to internally perform design tasks concurrently rather than linearly. In this program, we are able to cut down the typical design time by a half and bring these projects to construction quicker, which is enabling the department's perennial goal to keep our town bridges in a state of good repair. The department is very pleased to be able to offer this program to both of the towns. And the DMS program is also spending your municipal and state tax dollars efficiently and effectively, and at the same time fostering great working relationships with our municipal counterparts. And with that, I would now like to hand it over to the town of Westport and Fairfield, who have some welcoming remarks.
Good evening. My name is Keith Wilbergen. I am the town engineer at the Westport Department of Public Works. We are looking forward to a successful bridge replacement project with the town of Fairfield. We would also like to thank the Connecticut DOT for offering both Westport and Fairfield the chance to be part of this DMS program. Thank you.
Hello, my name is William Hurley, and I'm the Fairfield Engineering Manager. The town of Fairfield will continue to partner and work with the town of Westport and the state of Connecticut with respect to the Greens Farm Road, Kings Highway West Bridge, and the DMS program. Thank you.
I would now like to introduce the project team. I am Preeti Bardwaj, the project manager shown in the center. To my left are the department's front office leadership, which includes Mr. Bart Sweeney, Division Chief of Bridges, and Mr. Louis Bacho, Principal Engineer. To my right are Mr. James Barrows, Project Engineer, and Mr. Dennis McDonald from the Office of Rights of Way. The consultant liaison engineers who have brought this project to 30% design completion are Close, Jensen, and Miller. And from Close, Jensen, and Miller, we have Mr. Mike Brady, Project Manager, and Mr. Andy Shepard, Senior Engineer. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally ready to present our technical portion of the presentation, and you will be hearing a lot of bridge lingo throughout the presentation. Therefore, I am about to give you a 2-minute crash course on some of the structural elements on a bridge and the numerical condition rating system assigned on a bridge. On the diagram shown, the deck is the riding surface of a bridge. The parapets, or sometimes bridges can also have an open rail system, help prevent errant vehicles from going off the bridge. The beams, or the girders, are the supporting structural elements on the bridge and are designed to support vehicular loads and the self-weight of the bridge and any environmental loads, such as winds, seismic, etc. The parapets, the deck, and the beams are what make up the superstructure of a bridge. The abutments and wing walls are the end supports on the bridge. The piers, if there are any, are the intermediate supports. The abutments, wing walls, and piers make up the substructure of a bridge. The substructure not only supports the superstructure, but also helps in transmitting loads from the superstructure down to the bridge foundations. All state bridges and town bridges over 20 feet in length are inspected every 2 years by the department's Bridge Safety and Evaluation Unit and are assigned a condition rating on the major elements on a scale of 1 through 9, with 9 being excellent condition and 1 being imminent failure condition. When a bridge element reaches a 4 or poor condition, that is when we start to initiate a project to address the structural deficiencies. Now that you are armed with basic bridge knowledge, I would now like to introduce Mr. Andy Shepard from Close, Jensen, and Miller, who will be presenting the technical portion of the presentation.
Thank you, Pretty. I'll go over the existing structure and the deterioration, as well as the proposed replacement project. This project is located about 0.2 miles west of the Greens Farms Road intersection with Route 1 or Post Road and is functionally classified as urban local. Here you can see an aerial view of the location. The bridge is in a residential neighborhood, but also has commercial properties located just to the north on Route 1. Adjacent to the northeast end of the bridge is a driveway that gives emergency access to a commercial retail building, and there's also an access to the town of Fairfield Sasco open space to the southeast. To the northwest end of the bridge is a driveway to provide access to a town-owned pump station and also emergency access to another commercial retail building, as well as a private residential property on the southwest side. Existing structure was built in 1973 and consists of a 2-span reinforced concrete 3-sided rigid frame supported by a reinforced concrete footing and a reinforced concrete pier between the spans. The total structure length is 35 feet with an out-to-out width of 36 feet 2 inches and a curb-to-curb width of 28 feet 2 inches. The estimated 2021 average daily traffic, or ADT, on the structure is 1,640 vehicles per day. There's 1 lane of traffic in each direction and substandard pedestrian sidewalks on either side. And the bridge rail consists of a 2-rail pipe with posts embedded in the concrete curb along each side. There's a 4-inch gas main that spans the channel by resting on the wing walls with a steel support on the central pier at mid-span on the south fascia of the bridge. A drainage pipe outlet is located in the northwest wing wall. A sewer line approaches the bridge from the west and terminates at the pump station immediately northwest of the structure. No overhead utilities are present over the structure. All overhead facilities end just to the west of the structure. Initial utility coordination has been sent out and a formal utility coordination meeting will be held later on. The bridge deck is in poor condition with a rating of 4 and has areas of cracking with spalls and potholes. The steel pipe rails and posts have isolated areas of moderate rust. The approaches are in satisfactory condition with a rating of 6 and also have areas of cracking and some bituminous patches. The superstructure is also in poor condition with a rating of 4. The underside of the concrete frame segments in both spans have spalls with exposed rebar along with hollow areas and scaling. There's evidence of leakage with efflorescence along the joints, and the joints are also misaligned between various segments. Here's just a few more photos of the underside conditions of the bridge. You can see the spalls with the exposed rebar and also the leakage along the joints here. The substructure is in fair condition with a rating of 5. The rigid frame legs have spalls with exposed rebar, lateral misalignment, active leakage, and scour, and the footings are exposed and exhibit spalls with moderate scaling along the waterline. Again, here's just some more views, this time of the substructure conditions. The top left photo here shows the northwest wing wall with the drainage outlet mentioned earlier. You can also see more deterioration of the substructure as well as the exposed footing and scaling occurring. The channel has a rating of 6 and scour is noted with a rating of 3, signifying the structure as scour critical. The upstream channel has moderate to heavy undercutting with exposed tree roots throughout. There's areas of heavy timber debris and heavy vegetation growth on the channel embankments. There's also moderate scour along span 2 due to an increased flow in that span, as well as a reduced flow outlet in span 1 because of a large area of gravel and stone accumulation, which you can see here on the photo here on the right. Because of all this, the proposed project is to replace the existing structure with an ASHTO concrete box beam superstructure on pile supported integral abutments. The structure will have a total structure length of 68 feet with a clear span of 60 feet, a curb to curb width of 32 feet consisting of 12-foot travel lanes and 4-foot shoulders will be provided. The use of sidewalks on the bridge was discussed with the towns, and as there's no sidewalks on the existing Greens Farms Road, the use of widened shoulders was brought up and agreed to be the most practical option. All driveways in the construction area will be reconstructed due to a raise in the roadway profile. The existing gas main will be replaced in kind on the fascia of the proposed structure upon completion of all construction activities. You can see the proposed structure here in orange with the new wing walls in pink, the roadway and driveway reconstruction in yellow, the replaced gas main here in blue, and the proposed drainage pipes here, right in here in green. This is an elevation view of the proposed project. It shows the bridge as if you're in the river looking at the structure. Similar to the previous slide, the proposed structure is shown here in orange with the wing walls in pink. The new concrete box beams are in red and the bridge rail in yellow, and the pile foundation is shown here in brown. Here we have a section view of the project, which is basically if we slice through the bridge while standing on the roadway. As I said before, the structure will have 12-foot travel lanes and 4-foot shoulders on either side. The deck will be a minimum 6-inch cast-in-place shear slab with waterproofing membrane and 3 inches of bituminous wearing surface. The box beams here, again, are shown in red. The shear slab is in gray with the bituminous in black. The bridge rail is in yellow, and the relocated gas main is here in blue. These photos are from a similar project and just show basically what the bridge could look like to give some example. The roadway profile has to be raised to meet spot improvement criteria, and due to the various design issues seen at this location, the raise in profile is also due to an increase in span length and the removal of the central pier. As I said before, this will affect the driveways, but each will be reconstructed. The new profile is shown here in red line with the proposed structure here in orange. The proposed bridge will be constructed with full road closure for the duration of construction, or about 8 months. The detour here is 1.2 miles, or about 4 minutes, and includes Greens Farms Road, Route 1 or Post Road, and Bulkley Avenue. Stage construction was determined not practical due to cost, water handling, and the additional construction time required to maintain the roadway during each construction phase. We also want to complete the project in a single construction season. Rights of way in the vicinity of the bridge varies. The drainage pipe here to the northwest that's being replaced extends beyond the limits of rights of way. And because of this, a drainage rights of way and construction easement is needed. The new low point in the roadway means that the existing catch basin here will need to be removed and replaced further east. This means that here in the southeast corner, a construction easement is also needed for the new drainage pipe that's being installed. We're anticipating about 4 permits here: local inland wetlands permit, Army Corps of Engineer pre-construction notification, flood management certification, and structures dredging and fill. Construction is anticipated to begin in the spring of 2023 and take about 8 months. Estimated cost of the project is $2.29 million, and of that, the towns will be responsible for 20%, or $458,000. I'll now turn the presentation over to Dennis McDonald to briefly go over the rights of way process.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dennis McDonald, and I'm a representative from the Connecticut Department of Transportation, Division of Rights of Way. I'm just going to provide a brief overview of the right-of-way process. So the function of the Division of Rights of Way is to acquire all property and property rights necessary for the project. This is done in accordance with Connecticut General Statute Section 13A73, 13A98E, and the Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisition Policies Act of 1970 as amended. Your typical right-of-way impacts include partial acquisitions, easements, and rights. Impacts are subject to change as the design progresses, but this gives a general idea of typical property impacts. Once property impacts have been established, each impacted property owner will receive a letter of intent to acquire along with a property acquisition map. The letter essentially initiates the right-of-way process, and the map provides a detailed overview of the specific right-of-way impacts. Soon after the letter is received, evaluation process will take place, and once a value has been established, each impacted property owner will receive a written offer of compensation. Property owners will be given time to consider the offer and negotiate should they wish. If an agreement is reached, an acceptance document will be signed, and a closing will take place at a later date. If an agreement is not reached for whatever reason, the state will utilize its power of eminent domain and acquire the property rights through the condemnation process. Now, I understand this has a negative connotation, but many times this is done to keep a project on schedule. If the state elects to pursue eminent domain, the original offer is deposited in the court system, and property owners can continue negotiations or file a formal appeal for a reassessment of damages through the court system. Please note all appeals must be filed within 6 months from the date in which the state files for eminent domain. And that is all I have for tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dennis, and that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes our technical portion of the presentation. I would like to thank everyone on my design team and everyone behind the scenes who helped put this live event together. We are going to leave the Q&A session information on the screen for your benefit, and we will be answering any questions that came in during the presentation and answer any questions that will come in during this live Q&A session. Once again, we would like to remind everyone to please visit the project website to participate in the survey pertaining to tonight's event, or ask additional questions, or view project plans and information. For those of you listening on the phone, the project webpage is again portal.ct.gov/DOT Westport 158-219. So with that, we are now going to start the live question and answer session. We will take as many questions as we can. Feel free to use that chat feature or call in by phone. The number is again 860-944-1111, or by email. The address is again dot-flbp@ct.gov. And please remember that the comment period is December 21st, 2021. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we have gotten a couple of questions, and I'm going to start by reading the first one out loud. And that question is, can stage construction be used instead? And may I have Andy from CJM please take this question?
Hi, yes, thank you, Pretty. Stage construction was looked into, but we determined that it wasn't practical because of an overall increase in the construction cost, as well as the additional water handling and additional construction time required to maintain the roadway during each construction phase.
Thank you, Andy. Next question, where will the contractor place their equipment? Can I have Andy from CJM please take this question?
So the bridge, like we said, will be closed during construction. So that means that the approaches can be used for staging. If any more room is needed, we can coordinate that with the town once we have the contractor on board. The contractor won't be allowed to place any material or any of their equipment on any property that hasn't had any easements acquired for the project. And of course, all driveway access will still be maintained at all times.
Okay, great. Thank you, Andy. Next question, has there been coordination with EMS, fire, schools? Can we have Andy take that question first? And also, can we please have the town weigh in as well?
Right, so all coordination with emergency vehicles or any buses will be verified with the towns to ensure there aren't any delays or any conflicts like that.
Good evening. This is Keith Wilberg, Town Engineer, Town of Westport. And yes, I've coordinated with Al Demira of our police department and Nate Gibbons, our fire marshal, regarding the detours.
Okay. Thank you very much. Next question. How long will the construction take? Can it be expedited? Andy from CJM, can you please take this question?
Yes, so construction we're estimating to be about 8 months all in, and we are working to obviously make sure everything goes on to plan, and that all kind of depends on permitting and rights of way acquisition. So as long as that goes okay, then we should stick to schedule.
Okay, thanks, Andy. What is the estimated length of construction? Andy, can you please take this question?
Right, so like I said, construction should be about 8 months. all depending on basically how it goes, but we're working to make sure that everything goes according to plan, and even if we can, we'll expedite when we can.
Okay, great. Another question. How much higher is the new bridge deck and where will the runoff go? Andy, would you like to take this question, or Mike Brady from CJM?
I can start out. So the new bridge deck is about 2 feet higher, which means that the runoff will run more towards the east where the original drainage basin was, but we just need to make sure that we move it back a little bit more due to the new roadway profile itself.
Next question. Where will the staging be done? We would expect the Fairfield side, given residential is much closer on Westport. Andy, would you like to take this question?
Yes. So like I said, staging can be done mostly on the approaches. And yes, since Westport does have the one residential property closer, we probably will be more on the Fairfield side, but again, that'll be up to the contractor once we get them on board.
All right. So ladies and gentlemen, please don't hesitate to call in with questions. You can phone in. The number is again 860-944-1111, or you can email as well. The email again is dot.flbp@ct.gov. So let's see, I think we do have more questions coming in here. I'll read the next one. Are there time restrictions on when construction is done? For example, we do not want to be woken up every morning. Andy from CJM, will you please take this question?
Yes, there are statutes and everything in place to make sure that we work with the town to make sure that the public is aware of everything going on and are obviously not affected by any noise restraints or anything like that. So we do work closely with the town to make sure that all that works out.
Keith Wilberg, town engineer in Westport. Just to add to that, we do have a noise ordinance. You can't start any earlier than 7 a.m. or go any later than 8 p.m. on a weekday, and we definitely enforce that.
Thank you. Okay, next question. How much wider is the bridge? Andy from CJM, would you please take this question?
Yes, the bridge more or less is the same except for the widened shoulders. So existing currently, one shoulder is wider than the other. So we're basically evening those out and adding, yes, here on this slide, the 4-foot shoulders to each side. So it's about, I want to say 6 feet wider on each side.
Okay. Thank you very much, Andy. We have another question. We would request that all traffic on Greens Farms Road coming from the west be diverted to Bulkley. Andy or Mike from CJM, would you like to take this question?
This is Andy from CJM. Yes, so the detour that we do have includes Bulkley Ave, and it goes from Greens Farms Road to Post Road or Route 1 and does include Bulkley Ave. So we'll make sure to include your comment and make sure that the detour is in place according to, you know, what the public needs.
Okay. Very good. So I don't see any more questions, but we'll give it a minute or two. If any of you have any additional questions that you'd like to type into the MS chat or by the other two methods, by email or phone. So while we are waiting, I would like to remind everyone again that this whole presentation, including the Q&A session, will be recorded and will be posted to YouTube following this event. The recording will also be made available on the link shown on the project webpage. And that link again is portal.ct.gov/DOT Westport 158-219. Okay, so it looks like we are no longer receiving any more questions by any of the methods that are available to you. So I'm going to take, yes?
We do have two questions that just came in.
All right. Sorry, didn't see those. All right. Are there any trees being removed? Andy or Mike from CJM?
This is Andy from CJM. So any trees that will be removed, we will work with the town to make sure that all the aesthetic and everything is kept up to date and not impacted in any way. Mike, if you want to jump in and add on to that, that'd be great.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, Mike Brady from CJM. The only trees that would be impacted would be anything that's going to be within our easements for the construction area. And I would also like to note that any trees that will need to come down will need to be marked and consulted with the municipalities prior to cutting them down so that we don't have any excess clearing occurring. The last thing we want to do is make it look like there was more trees taken down, or for lack of a better term, like a bomb went off and the area is completely clean cut. We're sensitive. We know that we're going to try to be sensitive to that area and make sure that everything is cleared appropriately and there's no mess or anything that's cleared excessively.
Okay. Thank you, Mike and Andy. We have another question. What is the approach to replacement and beautification? So Andy from CJM, would you please take this question?
Yes, so replacement and beautification, we don't want to, we want to replace the bridge with what is out there currently, more or less. We want to stick to the aesthetic that the town has, and anything that is more than that, we can accommodate depending on what the town wants and what the opinion of the public is.
Okay. We have another question. If the drainage pipe is replaced, we expect any trees to be replaced with sufficient height to block the sight line to mall. CJM, would you please like to take this question? I don't understand what block the sight line to mall.
Yeah,
there's a shopping mall right behind it.
There's a shopping mall located there, and again, that will be part of what we will discuss as we go through the permitting. That's typically something that we will meet with the inland wetland boards with, and with the town themselves to discuss what we'll be doing. We typically have a planting plan in order to, restore what's going to be out there. Again, we understand there's the sensitivity of not wanting to see the shopping mall from any kind of residential area. Again, we are aware of the sensitive area out there, and we will be working with the town to restore any kind of trees or shrubbery that need to be put back after construction is complete.
Preeti, this is Dennis from DOT Rights Away. Just to add to that, any trees that are removed from private property will be compensated for through the right-of-way process.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. All right, we'll give it another minute or two if any of you have any additional questions that you'd like to post here.
Preety, this is Keith, town engineer in Westport. I'm looking at the pictures here of the trees in the immediate vicinity of the bridge. And they're mostly kind of scrubbed sumacs and other things. We're not going to be clear cutting for the bridge. We're just going to be cutting those immediately right near the bridge. Actually, what's going to replace it will probably be better than what's out there now in terms of beautification.
Okay. Thank you, Keith. Okay, we do have another question. On the restoration of trees, etc., you need to engage the neighbors. This needs to be budgeted. Keith, would you like to answer that question from the town?
Sure, we absolutely will be working with the neighbors to ensure that what gets taken out is replaced, in kind and hopefully even better, as I just said.
Yeah, Pretty, this is Bill Hurley. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you, Bill.
Okay. Yeah, we'll work also. The town has a tree warden, and they, when the consultant goes for the wetlands approvals, there'll be another opportunity to review, updated plans and work with their conservation, commission when they go for those inland wetland permits as well.
Okay, thank you, Keith and Bill. I don't see any more questions. I think we are all set. So I'm really going to take this opportunity right now to start wrapping up. They were very good questions that everyone asked, so I thank you for that and for participating in this meeting. I also would like to encourage you to take the survey link that is shown on the Teams chat box. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, the survey is below the video. This would really help us improve the virtual meeting experience in the future. And please remember that the comment period is open until December 21st. So if you have any other questions or have follow-up questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the department and the towns of Fairfield and Westport, we thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope you found this meeting informative and that we were able to answer all your questions. All of us on the design team and both of the towns are always available to answer any questions, even outside of the comment period. We are also available to meet with you individually on the project site if you so desire. So thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen, and have a great evening.